Hey yo, it's time for the playoffs, we the top of the West. We got the home field advantage, time to play at our best. I'm out at Carson, California, kill a piece on the set. Like Joe Belich, the pistolero, put a hole in the net. Yo got bonito when I dribble like I'm Gabriel Peck. Call me Yamane, got defenders out here breaking their neck. And put a curler past the keeper like I'm Pooch on the left. I'm bringing the skill like paint seal, counter attack. I'll put your sheet on next to Garces to defend in the back. And we serio, que golazo, give them props on the track. I got a vision like I'm Royce when he's giving a pass. Marky Delgado is my boy, helping out where he can. Put up a typo at the park, show the love that we have. Diego Fagundes on the left when we get to the half. Let's make some changes like Gaston, create a play and retract. When in the game we have possession, but we shouldn't relax. Mauricio Cuevas now and never, time to bring up the stats. We gotta show them what we're made of, take a look at the past. The champion's back, the race to save the price that we have. We ain't stopping till we have another cup in our hand. What? Let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Come on, vamos Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Come on, vamos Galaxy, la cuna galaxiana, es la voz de LA.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another edition of La Cuna Galaxiana. It just seems like yesterday we saw each other, but it is Thanksgiving week, and so we're back together again. Today, we'll be joined once again by special guest MLS Espanol and Sounder Heart Journalist Niko Moreno, who will be here to help us preview the LA Galaxy's Western Conference Final home match against the Seattle Sounders on Saturday, November 30th. We'll look at how each team got here, if Seattle is the underdog or not, and who has the advantage going into the weekend. Like I said, chat, thank you so much for being with us. This podcast is always made with love for all you guys, LA Galaxy fans out there, and La Cuna Galaxians. And right now, it is a special time in LA Galaxy Landia. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find me and my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. Y porque yo estoy aquí, ya saben, el papá Ride or Die está al lado mío, Ananda Kirana. Papa, let's get into it. There's a lot.
Let's get into it, papá. Primero, bueno, bona tarda, bona nit a tothom. Buenas tardes a todos, man. Just hello and good freaking evening, because, Robert, we're only a few days away. Saturday, Papa. It's 2 wins away. Can you believe this? 2 wins away from that magical la sexta, right? El trofeo que queremos mucho en el mundo, que todo el aficionado, toda la hinchada, que quiere tantísimo. Casi ya estamos. Tenemos un mano en una de las orejas. Tenemos que grabar los dos, o tenemos que coger los dos.
Man, I don't even know if that we're that close. I'm not even trying to jinx it like that by saying we have a hand on the trophy. You know, I'm trying to keep it as
so close,
as level-headed as possible over here on my end, man.
We are so close. But you know what? Like I said, we got a lot to get into, so we'll get into housekeeping, all that good stuff. But you know, the vibes are high, right? And the team is giving us that belief. I posted a couple of clips about this. We've talked about this quite a bit on the last few episodes. They're giving us the belief, and they're giving us the hope. And all the signs are very good. And so let's keep that going, and we'll see how we can we'll talk with Niko about, you know, how we see this game shaping up, looking at the X's and O's, looking at some of the trends, some of the statistics. I know you've got some really good ones coming into this matchup. It's not going to be easy.
Are you proud of me? I've been setting it up, son.
Dude, I am, bro. I am. But it's not going to be easy, but no one never said it was. Winning a cup is not easy. Winning 5 games in a row this year instead
anything
of 4
worthwhile is not easy.
It's not exactly, and job's not finished, right? But we're almost there, Papa. We're almost to the finish line. So we can get into this preview, and because we got a few more than a few shout outs and announcements, because man, there's been you guys
news out in the world.
You guys in Galaxy X or Galaxy Landia, you guys have been wilding out. So I definitely want to shout out a few things. But Papa, let's get into some housekeeping. Of course, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. And both of our handles are right there for everyone that's watching either live right now in chat or on playback in YouTube. So go ahead and stalk us, guys, there. And of course, our handles at La Cuna Galaxiana is where you will find all the latest info about this show. Like we had a call an audible today, like we said, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so we wanted to let everyone enjoy their Thanksgiving evenings with their family. And yeah, guys and gals, just definitely enjoy that time with the family. Health, familia, those are the most important things, at least to me. So, hopefully sharing that love to you guys as well and to your families. So a very, very happy Turkey Day in advance to you guys. And of course, if this is your first time or if you're coming back, welcome, first of all, or welcome back. And if you have not yet, because we know that just looking at stuff, about a third of you guys that pop into the show are not subscribed yet to this channel. So if you want to go ahead and support the show, if you like what you're listening to, if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys, and hit that like button as well. Whoever's the VP of likes are at today in the chat, go ahead and do that as well. And of course, Roberto, como siempre,
Dime.
antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Just like On Low says in chat, job's not done, job's not finished. So let's talk about how we can finish it up.
Yeah, man. And before we go any further, like we said, there's a lot to get to in announcements, and we have a really fun guest for you guys today. Niko's been with us before, friend of the show. But really quick, we want to take a moment to recognize you guys, man. We recognize you guys for being fans last week. We want to recognize you guys for being supporters of the show now. We put out a call a couple weeks ago, help us get to 350. We got there. You guys smashed it, man. And really, it's because you guys are incredible and you guys are supportive. Shout out to the chat right now. El Big Ñaño Nick Jurado, aka Total LA Galaxy, was with us last time. That's a reminder to you guys that check out the back catalog. We have amazing guests like Nick. We've had players like Jalen. Your LA Galaxy GM, Will Kuntz, legends like Joe Tutino. So good at that back catalog, and also go ahead and get at the Los GATACTICOS series that Ananda and Profe Alex RUIZ, aka the Mad Tweetist, has going on right now. They have 4. They're working on the 5th one right now. Raul G, I want to send a special shout out to your son Cruz. This is La Cuna. We love it. We love to see it, Papa. Like I said, thank you for 350 subs. Ananda, you asked me before the show how was the previous show that I was on earlier today. For those of you guys that don't know, La Cuna Galaxiana will shortly be found on Goals TV. And today I was on their MLS Conference Finals preview show, which was a lot of fun. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to all the boys that were on there. One of the friends of the show, Mo Football, was there. So yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. You and I. Ooh, that's the first one. That's a shot for you. So you and I were actually on with Jose, and we did something real fun called Box to Box, and that was kind of fun because, guys, we're always kind of asking people questions, and Jose was in the driver's seat for this one. So if you guys want to check this one out, this one is kind of like getting to know what the spot is about and knowing us a little bit more, and maybe where the spot is going in the future. So go ahead and check that out. We do appreciate it. You got something to say on that one?
That was super fun, man. It's just for everyone listening, it's probably a lot. It's very different to what this show. It's more like behind the scenes, the origin stories. You guys are going to hear a lot of the stuff that we haven't actually talked about on this pod ever. So it was a really good in-depth interview. If you guys want to know a little bit more about your two lovely knuckleheads that talk about LA Galaxy soccer, that's the show to do. I think it's either going to debut on Friday morning or Monday morning. So go ahead and give Goals TV a sub, guys, and go ahead and check that out. And of course, Rob, when is your conference final video dropping? Is that tomorrow?
That'll drop tomorrow. So you guys can check it out on Goals TV. Awesome. I'm sure that Goals TV will have announcements on their socials. So you guys can check it out. Just spoiler alert, pretty much everyone picked the Galaxy to beat Seattle. So if you guys want to have a good time, go ahead and check it out. And getting into it, like I said, we got Niko to get to, and we have a bunch of announcements, but they're all important. Namely, this first one, man, I want to send a special shout out to LA Galaxy 310, who's been absolutely smashing the sentiment on social media. He put out a thank you to the FO and marketing teams, and I want to read this because I feel like it needs reading. It says, thank you to the marketing team. He says, thank you to the FO and marketing teams. Thank you. Thank you for staying true to what matters most. The soccer, the players, the fans, and the community that is the Galaxy In a city often distracted by the glitz of celebrity culture, you've always chosen a different path, a path that honors the legacy of the most storied club in MLS history. You don't chase relevance through influencers or Hollywood cameos, and that's not because you couldn't. AAG has the connections to pack the stand with stars, and sure, in the Beckham years, celebs came willingly to get a glimpse of 23, but you've always known the truth. Our relevance, pedigree, and global prominence don't need validation from the famous. Since 96, the Galaxy stature has always been built on substance. From iconic players to our diehard fans, this club is a force because of the people who pour their hearts into it, not the ones who come for an IG feature. Through the deepest lows and now on the brink of hopefully achieving history, you've kept your focus on the badge, on the sport, and on the people who bleed our colors. Thank you for protecting what makes the Galaxy the Galaxy. Here's to the next chapter of LA Galaxy history, built on persistence, patience, and loyalty. Shout out to LA Galaxy 310. Lex, you did your thing on this one, man. Mad proper. And as if we needed any evidence that this is actually true, the LA Galaxy media and marketing teams were just recognized because their campaign for the retrograde kit launch was just recognized. They just won a Clio Sports Award. They received the 2024 Clio Sports Award, winning bronze for innovation in the partnerships and sponsorships category. And this was, the partnership they did to launch Retrograde with Herbalife, Adidas, and MLS Archive Collection. It marks the third time that the club wins the Clio Award. And this, if you guys didn't catch it, I mean, they literally launched the kit into space. It was pretty rad. I was like, how come no one's ever done that? That's such an easy win. And Will Misselbrook, Chief Creative and Brand Officer for the LA Galaxy, said, our team's relentless creativity and hard work brought the third kit launch to life, making it every bit as iconic as the Retrograde kit itself. Winning a Clio for innovation is a profound honor and a testament to our commitment to pushing creative boundaries. This recognition fuels our drive to continue setting new standards for our brand and our fans. They're killing it, man. Not just the product on the field, but the product in the FO. And man, we've been saying it all year, and it's nice that they are getting the recognition they need. Guys, moving right along here. Galaxy Outlaws are throwing a Thanksgiving pickup Joga Bonito. And I love this graphic, man. I mean, I want to know when Will Kuntz is going to sign Manny up, bro. I mean, I
mean, look at that. He looking like Ricky Puig out there without that picture.
Míralo nomás. Que galán, que guapo. Shout out Manny and shout out Outlaws. Well, they're doing tomorrow on Thanksgiving, they're doing an 8 by 8 pickup games, 8 versus 8. I don't know why that's so hard to get out. 8 versus 8 pickup games from 8 to 12 at the Digz, Field 7. He's encouraging you guys to park in lot 16. This is open to everyone. Go out and have a good time. Go out and break a couple ankles. Go out and break your own ankle. Who knows? But go out and have fun and hang out with your Galaxy community. From the Galaxy community, taking it to the other side of Los Angeles, because there's been controversy. There's been a highway robbery. There's been, I don't even know. This is dastardly what has just come down from the league. John Thornton has won MLS Executive of the Year. Of course, the executive, co-president, and general manager of LAFC beat out who pretty much league-wide people were expecting to win, which is Will Kuntz. I mean, the fact speaks for themselves, but just a quick little summary of this, LAFC, home exit in the Leagues Cup, and, didn't get it done in the MLS playoffs. But there is still a Los Angeles soccer team representing the good city of Angels, and that is the one that Will Kuntz put together, who remains the highest remaining seed in the playoffs after taking 13th place last year. Complete turnaround, signed the newcomer of the year, one of the best offensive sides of the year, but he didn't deserve the award at all. Dastardly, like I said. Anon, did you have a quick comment on this one, man?
The less said about this one, the better. Just typical MLS. I really don't get it. I'm even surprised Gabriel Peck won newcomer of the year at this point, right? Just like I think Greg got snubbed. At least maybe he wouldn't have won it, but for sure as the top 3 in as the candidacy, right? But this is, like you said, dastardly. That's a great way to put it, I think.
Yeah, sin vergüenzas, bro. It's like you. I mean, my immediate comment, and really, like, I shouldn't have. Maybe this is me, like, letting some of the young fan in me come out and not being the neutral journalist that I should be. But I literally said, well, they had to give him something, and They did. I mean, it's right when they went on the field, but when something's taken away like this. But anyway, we'll go on because I'm gonna start getting passionate about it. But Stephen Ma, one can only hope. So anyway, keeping it moving here. A lot of stuff is going around in MLS right now. You guys know that Inter Miami was the first Giant to get knocked out of the playoffs. Tata Martino resigned, quote unquote, because of it. And now Inter Miami has a new coach in Javier Mascherano. Inter Miami announced today that they've named the Argentina and Barcelona legend as its next head coach. They signed him to a contract through 2027. And now the former head coach of the Argentina U20 and Olympic national teams is basically the boss of his ex-teammates. So yeah, he's going to be heading up that very, very I guess job that job that's like very, very like closely watched, right? I mean, everybody that is into the league right now is kind of like waiting on seeing who they're going to sign in the summer, what coach they were going to bring in, and now we know Javier Mascherano. And more Inter Miami news. Luis Suarez re-signed in Miami. He signed a contract extension for 2025. Friend of the show, MLS Moves. He put out a tweet that Inter Miami is looking to extend Lionel Messi until 2026. So, when that drops, we'll let you know as well. There's a new head coach in St. Louis, Olaf Melberg. So like we mentioned, there's a lot of stuff coach-wise going around in MLS. So Olaf Melberg is the new St. Louis coach. The former Aston Villa defender joins St. Louis City after they dismissed their boss earlier in the season, which was a surprise at the time. But it is one of these businesses where results only matter and not sentiments and not what you did for me last year. He was most recently with Bromma Pushkarna of Sweden, and he was there for 5 years. That club was widely looked at as a developing club, like developing really good players. So it'll be interesting to see what Melberg does there in St. Louis City. More MLS head coach news. Nick Cushing out at NYC FC. He was dismissed after 2 years. Of course, NYC FC lost to New York Red Bulls in the conference semifinal at home, and that was kind of a surprise. A lot of people were picking them to win. He now leaves with a 40-40-27 record. He led NYCFC to the East Final 22 and the semifinal in 24. He is part of the large list of coaches that were fired this year, 10 to be exact. So, continuity is a good thing. I mean, it could have been the Galaxy last year with the performance that the team put on the field, but they stuck to their guns. They stuck with Greg Vanney, and now they're 2 wins away from MLS Cup. But congratulations to Javier Mascherano, and I feel bad for Nick Cushing, man. But keeping it moving on here, the announcements. Congrats to the Jalen and Neal family, or the Neal family rather. Jalen's brother Mark and his team Problems FC won the NISA West region. If you guys remember, the Galaxy community got behind that team earlier and donated for equipment and jerseys and stuff like that. As if the trophy wasn't enough, Mark, he won himself and got married a few days back. So congratulations to him and the Neal family. I hope you guys are celebrating those wins as well. Guys, wrapping up here, 12 Threads is running a sale on playoff merch. They have free shipping through the week. Use the code WCFBOUND. That's the code. Get at them, 12threads.com. And 12 Threads, of course, is the folks that are going to be throwing the next Blue, White, and Gold pop-up on Sunday, December 15th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Absolution Brewing. Woo! We got through them all, Nanda, and I still have a little bit of breath. Well, let's get into a preview. Are you ready?
We got a big match, man. Let's get into this thing.
Ooh, let's get it.
The pizza ready.
It's Chris says Rob Valentino too. Left Atlanta, or he got dismissed from Atlanta, didn't get the full-time job. So shout out, it's Chris. Thanks for letting us know about that one. Thanks for reminding us. But yes, let's get to
coaches,
el parcerito, nuestro parcero favorito, and our homie from Seattle, Niko Moreno. Thank you for coming back and joining us on the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be back. I'm glad that I'm once again invited in and in a great situation nonetheless. A situation that was unexpected. I think that I was higher on LA Galaxy the last time we were here than Seattle, or you guys on Seattle. I mean, it was really a big turnaround. I did not expect to be here this way. And I'm just excited. I'm excited that I get to see it. I'm excited that we're perhaps a win away from hosting, if that's what happens. So, yeah, just it's an exciting time here in Seattle.
Right on, man. Well,
otra vez, Nico.
Sí, papá. Bueno, antes de seguir, happy Thanksgiving para ti, para tu familia, bendiciones. And hopefully everybody in the Moreno household is doing well. And before we go any further, please let the folks know, of course, those that are watching can't see, but those that are listening on Spotify, let the folks know where they can find you.
All my work, man. I actually just joined Blue Sky. Yeah, I was kind of tucked into us. You can find me there at @El Rolo NW. Same thing on Twitter. You can find all of my English content, including podcasts and articles at Sounder or Heart. We've done a couple of these with Jeremiah O'Shan from Sounder or Heart, and I absolutely love it.
Shout out.
We usually, shout out to Jeremiah and Sounder or Heart. Anytime that we get to talking in a podcast, man, you get a lot of stuff that I'm not even supposed to share. So that's how we start talking. He gets me going, and we share some really good stuff. Also on Thursdays, this is a big shout out to soccer down here with my boy John, and that's Thursdays from 7:30 Pacific to about 8:15 Pacific. Every Thursday with Nico, we go through whole MLS. Obviously, we focus on the West Side. We talk juice boxes. If you're one of those betting gambling people, we talk about where to go, where not to go. So it's a good time there at soccer down here.
Right on, man. Well, thank you, guys. If you're looking for MLS coverage league wide, you know where to find it. And if you're looking for specific Seattle coverage, you guys know where to find it. Keep it locked with Niko Moreno. Papa, I was at BMO this weekend. I saw your beloved Seattle Sounders take down a team that no one really was giving them a chance against. Have you come down from the high of finally beating that monster that had beaten Seattle 10 times in a row? And not only that, but beating them when it mattered most.
I mean, you come off of it immediately. You do savor it. You do enjoy it. I feel like the Seattle Sounders have been on this quest since about July to try to regain that relevancy, that status of eliteness in the Western Conference. And even though they closed the season fantastically, they really did. They were one of the hottest teams in MLS to close the season. There was really no statement win. And I'm one of the people that didn't quite believe that this team could get it done as far as they did, because they had some issues, because they couldn't score, because a lot of those wins at the time came against teams that were at that time not necessarily in playoff positions. So there was a lot of not beliefs and a lot of they're doing well, but can they really get it done against the big teams in the West? And in the playoffs, that Seattle identity really kicked in. You got to give it up to the guys. You got to give it up to Brian Smetzer. This year has not been easy. It's been rather difficult on the pitch, off the field, in the locker room, all kinds of things. I've been one of those that I'm a journalist that doesn't like to just talk about the good things, and I'm there with the pom-poms and being a cheerleader. I really bring it in hard. I don't like to think that I'm harsh. I'm just a realist. I try to be as honest to the people as possibly can. I'm honest to myself. I'm consistent with what I provide.
I like Schmetzer's reaction when they called on you today in the press conference.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh man, this guy." It was great. No, I mean,
he's still around.
yeah, no, exactly. And you know that's why we bring you on, because like we know you have an affinity for this team, but we also know that you're fair, you know, and you're calling it exactly how you saw, and you're right. You came on a couple times earlier, and we were a lot higher in Seattle than you were, to the point where I was going to comment that you must be a little bit higher on them now because you have a rebrand hat on. And one of the times that we spoke, you were like, I'm not really feeling the rebrand. So you must be feeling them a little bit more right now, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, this hat was a good gift from somebody, and I ended up doing a little bit of tailoring to it because it had this little like rope over here that I didn't quite love. But yeah, I mean, I got a little bit behind the rebrand, when it came to some of the gear. So I was thinking you guys are very open about, the LA thing. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to bring it too. I'm going to get my hat, put it on. But yeah.
Rob, real quick before we move on, Steve Ma has a comment here. LA Galaxy versus Seattle is Vanny's personal version of El Tráfico. His beef against Schmetzer is no joke. They battled several times in the playoffs. We're going to touch on that later, man. Vanny does not have fond memories, especially of his previous job before the LA Galaxy against the Seattle Sounders. So that's something I think we might touch on later. But Niko, so, we've heard about your feelings, but what's the vibe like in Seattle right now? Because the vibes are super, super high here. Everyone is so gassed about the LA Galaxy, and for good reason, right? 15 goals in 3 games, you know the rest. But what's the feeling right now in Seattle?
The feeling is kind of like what we talked about last time with the LA Galaxy. There's quite a few people that are saying we're back. I think the majority of the fan base feels like this team has at least gotten that ability to grind through games, to maybe not be brilliant, but to find a way. Be relentless, right? That's the motto of the Sounders. You see it everywhere, and they have been that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. So the fan base is really excited, really happy. A little bit of disbelief that they are where they are right now, when there was so many issues at the beginning of the season, and no matter who you talk to, when it comes to the fan base, everybody's like, man, I didn't think we were going to get here. And they did. So there's a lot of positive energy. There's a lot of belief. The LAFC win was beyond a statement win. It was something that this club needed to prove itself, that it was once again worthy of being one of those top teams. When you get beat 4 times in a year, outscored 9-1. You haven't been this team in over 11 games. I mean, it gets tough, and you start to think, man, they have our number. So that win was huge. I think everybody in the city feels it, and they're behind him. And it's as positive as it's been in 3 years in the city of Seattle. Ever since this team won the CONCACAF Champions League, there has not been the feeling that you see out there right now.
Well, chat, let's get into how both these teams got here. Of course, in the playoffs, the Galaxy started the playoffs earning a 5-0 shutout win over Colorado in the best-of-3 series. Did not need 3 games. They went to Colorado and took out the Rapids 4-1 at Digz Sporting Goods Park in Game 2. And then, of course, they came back home and absolutely smoked one of the best defensive sides in MLS in Minnesota United, 6-2. Braces from 3 different players in that MLS conference semifinal. It doesn't look like they had the 23-day funk, but they have an opponent that is equally as tough. Niko, go ahead and take us through that playoff scenario. Take us through Houston. Take us through LAFC.
It was 2 games where defense ranked supreme, where the base of everything that you've been doing was defensive discipline, was the best defense in the league without a doubt, the best duo of center backs in the league without a doubt, in Jackson Reagan and Yeimar Gomez Andrade. Gritty performances, still a lack of goal, but a team that never lost the ability to, in one way or another, manage games and stay in games, whether it was through defense, through Stefan Fry, finding goals, but specifically doing something that they have not been very good at in the past, which is winning shootouts. That's something that this team had not been good. Actually, the win in Seattle, in Lumen Field, was the first penalty kick shootout win at Lumen in Sounders history, which was a crazy.
That's a crazy stat.
Yeah, it's a crazy stat to me. It was
especially with
stat.
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, and you know that's one of the knocks on Stephen Fry in the past was that he wasn't really good at penalty kicks. Beyond, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and look, that's not necessarily a knock. I'm a believer that stopping PKs, you got to be a different type of goalkeeper, and you could be a really bad goalkeeper and be really good at stopping PKs, and vice versa, right? So, all in all, this team, regardless of the ups and downs this season, found a way, despite maybe not getting the best out of their young DP in Pedro de la Vega, who has looked good at times, specifically in the Houston series, not so much last game. But I feel like the main component that had pushed this team through that Houston series was grit, was grind, was the ability to just stay within games, right? And in the LAFC game, they needed all of it. And I got to praise Brian Smetzer. I've been very critical of him at times, and I feel like I've been fair at times. In this one, going into the game, we did a couple of TV specials where I was like, look, you've lost to LAFC 4 times. You need to change things up. But Brian's not one to change things. So if it was up to me, maybe we'll do a 3-man back line, really push back that confrontation line and just play him in a deeper block. But Brian's not going to do that. That's not him. And he ended up doing it. He ended up taking that role, doing things differently, despite not having Paul Rothrock, who had been amazing for this team, very productive, despite clearly not having the best 11 that he wanted out there. He still got it done. And that's a big praise to that coaching staff for getting it done. So in that particular game, Stephen Fry was unbelievable, unreal, but it was late in the game. It was already from the 70th minute on out. Seattle started struggling a little bit. Guillermo Gomez Andrade goes down. That's a big one. LAFC starts getting a little bit more comfortable. I feel like Steve Cherundolo, I don't know what he was thinking, putting Giroud at the 9. He really did Seattle a solid there. I said this on Twitter. Going into this game, I spoke to a lot of players. I'm not gonna say any names. I spoke to Freddie Juarez, and most people were believing that Boguts was going to play that 9. He was going to play that false 9. He was going to be moving, and none of that happened. But Seattle got through. Seattle was able to do what they do best, which is just stay in games. Yes, they got into that overtime because of an own goal, but after that, Jordan Morris gets the monkey off his back of not being able to score on LAFC, gets the monkey off his back from not really being able to score late in the season. So just overall, a gritty performance. It was a lot of heart, a lot of that factor H, if you know what I'm talking about, and they got it done.
Niko, give me a one-word reaction. We do something on here at the top of the show usually for match reactions, but since we didn't see you the other day, we're going to ask you this now. Give me a one-word reaction for Seattle's performance over LAFC, and then who was the difference maker in that match? The difference maker doesn't have to be one word, just the one-word reaction.
Relentless, unthinkable. I really didn't think they could get it done. Nuhu is by far the best one-on-one defender. They really needed him. He did not make it to that game. Gerardo not there, on the road with everything against them. So relentless, unthinkable. That's the 2 words that come to mind.
And who was the difference maker for you?
Stephen Fry, man. And man, just give this man a round of applause. He is an 18.
He was massive.
Yeah.
He kept you in the game the entire time. And I know people would like to think that, well, it was also the defense, but it wasn't just that. I mean, whenever they called his number, he was there. He kept you in the game when Steve Cherundolo, I don't know how he took so long to switch to a 4-3-3, puts Ilie Sanchez, pulls off Chanot, really gets after a Seattle Sounders defense that was really backed up. Who came up to shine? Stephen Fry. putting his body on the line, smacks himself against the post, the kick save on Bogut's side, the reaction on a deflection off of I think it was a Hollingsted deflection of a corner kick. He was just massive. He was huge. He was everywhere. He has the spirit, the heart of a freaking lion. He's been the captain this year, and he's been great at that. He was doubted at some point in this season. People wanted Andrew Thomas, or some people did, or a lot of people did. And he just grind through all of it. And all of that was encapsulated into one game. And I could not be happier for him. So without a doubt, regardless of Obed Vargas having a monster game, he was a close second to me. But most valuable, most amazing, the game changer for me was Stefan Frey.
And
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the stat to prove Nico's point is Stefan Frey, man of the match performance. I think he got like an 8.8 FOTMOB rating, but he prevented per Opta. He prevented 2.17 goals in that match. Absolutely huge. That's a monster stat for a goalkeeper. So yeah, man of the match performance.
He was great. I think he set his playoff record as well for saves. I think it was like 7 or 8 or something like that. So
I think it was 7.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely massive. Like I said, I was there, and every time he faced a shot, I mean, the crowd was like, "Oh, it's happening," and then Fry was like, "Nah, son, no idea." But you mentioned around the 70th minute, right? This team started to flag. Seattle started to flag, get a little bit tired after this gutsy performance, which went 120 minutes. How much do they have left in the tank? Do they have another strong 90 and potentially another 30 after that left in them?
Man, I think it's a tough ask. And look, Jonathan Bell had started less than 7 games. He did an okay job. I think he struggled a little bit. I think the goal, Hollingsted goal, is on him for not closing the service in quicker, earlier, better. I thought that there were times that he looked a little bit out of gas. He looked out of position to me. Without this team having a lot of pieces, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't know if there's time to talk about it, but even if the team was as healthy as it was last game, I think it'd be a tough ask that they have another 90 or another 120 in them. But the fact that Yemer Gomez Andrade went out, he's not going to be there for this next game. He's not going to be there. Brian Spencer said 60%. He talked about Reed Becker White being 50-50. That makes me nervous because I thought that Yemer was definitely out because an abductor strain,
right,
even if it's a low-grade strain, it on a 5-day rest after the swelling goes down a little bit, he won't be back. And 50-50 for Reed Baker, those are numbers that you don't really hear from Brian. So to me, neither of those guys are going to be back. Nuhu's still what's going to happen. He's got to get evaluated by the team. He just came today, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah, he just came today. He will get evaluated by the team. What happens? What was the illness? Can he play? Can he not play? You already have Paul Roderick out for the rest of the playoffs. Man, that's a lot of missing players to ask 120 or 90 or 60 or 45, man. That's a tough ask.
Yeah, it was interesting because on the Galaxy side, they're not really missing anyone besides Martin Cáceres. So we did speak to I spoke to Greg earlier today, and he said that Marco Royce took a small knock, so they're going to evaluate him and see how much they're going to be able to use him. But I put that tweet out, right, and people were like, "Oh no!" and it received a big reaction. But let's be honest here. He's not the fulcrum of this team. He's the topping, like it's what accentuates this jazz band, right?
Cherry on top.
Right, and for Seattle, they have a lot of key contributors out, so that's why I had to ask that question, because this one is probably going to be the most intense 90 minutes that either team has faced all year.
And look, don't get me wrong, there are some V8, V12 engines in those players that are in. Christian Roldan has a V12, and Owen Vargas. He has a V8 and he's getting ready to change that bad boy to a V12 because he was everywhere against LAFC. He was fantastic. He was probably the player that gained and covered the most part of the field. He's great on just pushing the ball forward. And what he told me, I don't know if you guys have seen.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Good.
I loved it, and I was like, we got to talk to Niko about that, and we will.
Yeah, so definitely there's guys that can definitely help out and be everywhere. And anytime that you have that many guys out, sometimes you think, is it a catch game? It's not a catch game. But in terms of the team, man, they're really hurting for players, and I cannot see this team going beyond 90. Like that would be top ask. If they go beyond 90, man, that's really, they're gonna be on E in about the 88 to me. And beyond that, that's just difficult.
Yeah, I saw the team picture that they took afterwards in the locker room, and I was like, where's the rest of the bloody team? Like, there's only like 15 people there, bro. Well, look, this team, these teams rather have faced each other 3 times this year, and they have a long and storied history. I mean, this used to be a pretty big rivalry in MLS. This Western Conference final between them marks the 52nd meeting across all competitions between both teams. Seattle is in the lead in the series 17-20-14. In 80 MLS playoff matches, the Galaxy hold a 48-24-7 record. In 38 MLS Cup playoff matches at home, they hold a 33-4-1 record. And against Seattle, they hold a 4-3-0 record in the MLS Cup playoffs. And like I said, they've met 3 times this year. There is a win, a tie, and a loss. The loss hurt because it was an elimination match. The last time these teams played was that elimination match where the Galaxy lost 3-1 to be eliminated from the League's Cup. They just got absolutely blitzed by Seattle in the first 10 minutes. By the first 10 minutes, they were down 2-0 after 2 Seattle goals off of set pieces. Interestingly enough, those were 4 from defenders. The last time these teams played at the Digz, though, Gabriel Peck scored the game-winning goal in the Galaxy's 1-0 shutout win. And the 3 times these teams have played each other in the playoffs at the Digz, the Galaxy holds an unbeaten record of 3-0-0. Like I said, this was a big rivalry once upon a time. So they have seen each other in the Western Conference Final 4 times, and the Galaxy is 2-2-0. They've gone on to win the MLS Cup both times that they've beaten Seattle in the in this match. So, Niko, tell me what it's like as somebody that's in Seattle. Do Seattle Sounders fans see this as a big rivalry? I mean, Brian Schmetzer and Stephen Fry were asked about this. You were in the presser just like I was, and Stephen Fry was like, yeah, it just seems like everybody wants to give us a rivalry now. Supposedly we have a rivalry against Vancouver and against Portland and against this team, against that team. So what do you think? I mean, do Seattle Sounders fans get up for this one? Is there a rivalry?
Yeah, absolutely. And I respect what Steph said, and I am a believer that not all rivalries are created the same. None of them. Some are regional, some are created by history, some are created by a team being more dominant than the other and finally getting one, and then that role kind of switching. In Colombia, there's Clásico Medellín Nacional, then there's Millonarios Nacional, then there's América Nacional. I'm a Nacional fan. So, there's all kinds of rivalries that are built and created differently, right? I mean, it's not just region. And I feel like if you don't think that 2 of the most successful Western Conference team, and it's kind of funny, right? Because LA Galaxy was everything, royalty, and then the Sounders had a decade of success and were everything, and they did their thing against Bruce Arena and against afterwards the Escaloto and all different kinds of LA Galaxy teams. And then LAFC came on the picture, and then LAFC kind of became the new toy, and they kind of became the new team that was doing it all. So it all kind of comes around, but the rivalry between LA Galaxy and Sounders was always there. Look, I've been covering this team for more than a decade, and I knew that going into the Bruce Arena games and Robbie Keane and all these guys, it was going to be a battle, and it was going to be a battle even before the game started, with what Bruce would say and what Ashley Cole would say and what Donovan would say. Everybody was ready for this type of game. So I think that the rivalry has built up because of the great games, because of the battle for dominance in the West. So to me, there's no doubt, and the fans, they know they hate you guys. They hate the Galaxy, they hate LAFC, they hate Inter Miami, man. That's just three teams that people can't stand out here. But the LA Galaxy hate is not as generic as maybe LAFC and Inter Miami is. This is like some realness. This is like created. This is that organic.
There's a history.
Hate. There's a history, right? There's some organicness to it. So I
they hate themselves some Juninho, right?
Hey, there you go. Absolutely. And that's the rivalry, right? Is fans against fans, fans against clubs against club, players against players, coaches against coaches. So to me, there's no doubt in my mind that there is a rivalry. Although I absolutely get and understand what Steph is coming from. For me, there's no doubt about it.
Let's look at Seattle's form really quick, man. They haven't lost in the last 10 matches, only 2 losses in the last 20, only 5 goals conceded in the last 10 games, all competitions. And of course, they finished the season in MLS with first in goals conceded. Where was the turning point? Because you were on before and you were not optimistic about this team. And I Ananda and I were both like, nah, man, Schmetz always goes deep in the playoffs. So where was the turning point? Like, where was the moment where you were like, all right, they're going to get it together?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think it was one of the Minnesota wins at home. Minnesota had just gotten Jaboa. They were a team that he didn't play that game, but they were already in talks with Jefferson Diaz. And I was high in Minnesota, and I thought that Minnesota was going to come in and give us some issues. They had some absences because of international play, and Tanny wasn't in, and there was other players that weren't around. But that game was damn good. And I remember thinking, although I still don't believe it completely, but I thought that Jordan Morris against Minnesota United looked like a 9. And it wasn't the goals, and it wasn't just the runs, but it was some of the pivoting, some of the linking ups. There was some of the things that he was doing as a 9 that I was like, man, maybe this will work out. So between that and the defense just continuing to keep shutouts, continuing to keep the ball out of the back of the net, dominating in their own style of play. I think that Minnesota win was what I really thought, hey, man, this team has really turned it around. They're really figuring it out. But even before that, I think getting out of CCL, not CCL, but now it's CCC, I think that was a big point where the team realized, hey, okay, now we got to focus on nothing but league play. We need to really figure this out. The only thing that we're still on was Open Cup at the time. And I really think that they were able to do that. Brian Smetzer, despite some issues with certain players, I feel like he did a good job at keeping the team together, keeping them unified. And I think all of that really came into fruition in that time. So between end of July on forward, that's when this team started really turning the boat into the right route.
Yeah, you could see the kind of belief in this team when we're in this presser earlier. I mean, Stefan Frei doesn't look shook at all. I mean, he's a keeper that's riding a hot hand, and Seattle's going to ride him as much as they can to victory, right? Just did a quick fact check. He, in fact, made 9 saves in that win over LAFC. So that was
crazy.
His record. It ties his playoff career high mark. He now has 14 career clean sheets, one behind the Galaxy's Kevin Hartman, who has the record with 15. But another interesting stat about Frei 5 seasons of 10 plus shutouts for a single club, the only keeper in MLS history to do that. So I asked him, you're probably going to have another man of the match performance. Like, what is the unique challenge? What are you looking forward to in the unique challenge of facing, this high-powered offense? And he just laughed and he's like, "I'm not looking forward to anything. I hope they're really bad that day." But just kind of emphasize that point that he hopes that they're really bad. One of the Galaxy's main contributors hasn't been that great against Seattle. Per our friend Alex Ruiz, his tweet today, Ricky Puig has yet to register a goal or assist against the Seattle Sounders in MLS play since joining the LA Galaxy in 2022. I see what you're doing there, Alex. I see you getting Ricky motivated. I love it. But you mentioned the rivalries all across the pitch. The storylines, Niko. Team versus team, player versus player, coach versus coach. This is Greg Vanney against Brian Schmetzer. Again, they've faced off for MLS Cup before, and Greg Vanney has not gotten the better of Brian Schmetzer. Usually he has a 4-10-3 record. That one's also by El Profe Alex Ruiz. Thank you, Profe Alex Ruiz, for getting those stats. So you were talking about this sense of optimism that Seattle has, that the belief that they can go ahead and take this, right? So is Brian Schmetzer's tactical plan, is his coaching one of the reasons, like one of the big reasons that you guys feel like, hey, there's a shot here?
Oh man, I don't know if that's all of it. I think it's part of it, and I think it's more his ability to understand what players to put in and the belief that certain players have for him. I think that strategically he has done things differently and has gotten better as the year goes along. Again, I've been critical of Brian quite a bit, but I think he's figured it out. So I think it's a significant percentage. And you saw him today. I mean, he is a viejo lobo de mar. He's a guy that he's not going to give Vanny anything more to be motivated. So he downplayed the entire thing about the rivalry between him and Vanny, and we've battled and all of these things. So
I tried to bait him too. You saw me. I tried to bait him into something too. But
Schmetzer or Vanny?
Schmetzer.
Oh man.
I asked him about him and Albert Rusnak's previous comments about how the Galaxy doesn't like to defend, and he was super cool as a cucumber. Like Niko said, el viejo lobo de man. He just just kept it cool, and he praised Greg. Greg praised Schmetz in that
Greg
press conference.
Greg said he was not excited to see Schmetz. He's like, I wouldn't say I'm excited to see Schmetzer, but and then he went on his little thing with his history with Toronto. But yeah, man, it's oh man, I need to be in those press conferences. That's fun, man. That's super fun just seeing those reactions. I love the insight for sure.
It's great. I mean, Stefan Fry's like a character. He's very expressive, and you can kind of see like all his reactions and stuff like that. But we've spoken about Stefan Fry a lot. Obviously, he needs to come up big for Seattle to have success in this match. Who else needs to step up after all the injuries, after this long season, after them being gassed? Who's the guy that needs to step up? And I'm kind of asking this question because I told you earlier that we would speak about Obed Vargas.
Yep, and we won't get into Obed yet then, so I'll give you a second name before we get to Obed. But there's a guy that has a huge debt that needs to cash it in right now, and now would be the time, and it's Pedro de la Vega. I mean, he is the guy that needs to go from what he has done and double that or triple that or quadruple that, because he needs to be someone that is positive on the ball, that's creating, that's making teams collapse on them, that becomes a guy that is dangerous with the ball, especially if there are these absences. My guess is that if Paul not being available and Reed possibly not, you're going to have Georgie and Pedro out wide. Georgie's a very young, well, not very young. He's just newer to MLS. Just got him from Tacoma Defiance. He is he balls, but I feel like he's still a gem in the rough. So you need the other guy to really come to play. And that's got to be Pedro de la Vega. He's got to be way more energetic. He's got to be just as good as he's been defensively. I think that's one of the things he's done better, is that repress, is that ability to just contain players, to do other things than just being an offensive player. But he just needs to get confident, man, because he had a so-so game against the LAFC. I thought him and Albert Rusnak really didn't have their best game, and he needs to show up. He needs to show up. And Albert's that other guy that really needs to be there for these teams to succeed. But the guy we're going to talk about, he might have the biggest assignment, if you will,
sure,
because of everything that surrounds him. It's not just the attack, but it's the defense. And now, knowing Ricky is not one that stays away from social media.
No,
I'm a nobody. I mean, I'm no, Tom Bogert or, some of these big guys, but he probably might see the tweet. So if he does, he gonna come motivated.
Yeah, and you did speak to him yesterday about the tall task that he has keeping this Galaxy midfield under control. Just for context, you mentioned De La Vega being that guy that you think he has to step up. I mean, I agree. He didn't have a great game against LAFC, and I saw him kind of struggling physically. I don't know. I mean, I know he's had fitness battles all year, but I don't know that he's 100. I mean, you probably know that better than I would, Nico. But jumping to Obed, this is a tall task, but the young man isn't shying away from him, and he told you in regards to this Galaxy midfield, in particular Ricky Puig, I plan to be a plague on top of them, a louse who doesn't let them play free. Yeah, so I mean that's those are big words, man. He's what, 19?
He's 19. He's 19, but he's talented. He plays beyond his years, and this is his breakout season. This is where he has turned every head that maybe had not seen him yet, and they are just sitting there looking at this kid from getting called by the Mexican national team, but making the decision of switching federations, having that boldness to just say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to bet on myself. That's what I want to do. I want to play for the Mexican national team, all the way down to just having a fantastic season, playing in the wing, playing at center mid, playing absolutely everywhere. I just think this is his breakout season. So yes, he's a tough ask. This is a guy that's not afraid to have that spotlight on him. And I mean, the whole quote, I mean, he's kind of talking about how talented players like Marcos Reus and Ricky don't like to be physical, don't like to be challenged, don't like to be pressured. And that's why he goes off and says, I want to be a plague. I want to be un piojo that doesn't let them be free, man. So he's kind of saying, I mean, I'm not going to talk for him, but he kind of saying that, you know what, they're not used to that type of physical performance. I'm not saying he's calling them soft, but he's calling them talented, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this, right, and you're right. This is in regards to like that physicality, and I saw this, and I kind of laughed because all year opposing defenses have been giving it to Ricky, and he's shown that he can take a knock and get up and then come at him and score a goal. So, like you said, he does not stay on social media. He has probably seen this, and he's probably getting that little extra bit of motivation. Nico, you talked about Schmetz not really being that tactically fluid, willing to change the way he plays, but he did so against LAFC. He employed that three-man back line. Do you see them maybe going to the same thing against the Galaxy, or playing their traditional 4-2-3-1?
Oh, man. Right now, it's even more difficult to predict because, again, I'm not really sure if Nuhu does get cleared. So if Nuhu doesn't get cleared, I think that it's even easier to say it'll be a three-man back line. Because you'll have Jay Bell, Nathan, and Jackson as your center backs, and then you have to figure out who plays that left winger, the left wing back position. If Nuhu plays, I think it'll be a four-man back line. Brian talked today a little bit more about not going to LA to just bunker down so much, that he's going to have to bring it to LA Galaxy, and considering the difficulties and probably the one flaw in LA Galaxy's game, which is defending transition moments. I think that it would be probably wise to play him a little bit more up the field. So if Nuhu is available, I think we'll see Jay Bell, Jackson at the center back position with Nuhu on the left, Alex on the right, and then you move on forward to that 4-2-3-1 that's usual for this team. Without Paul Rothrock, my guess is that De La Vega will play on the left, Georgie will play on the right, Jordan up top, Rusnak at the 10, with Obed and Christian Roldan at holding mid. So that's kind of my prediction for that lineup, depending on whether Nuhu plays or not. But that Yemer Gomez Andrade injury is huge, is humongous. Look, Nathan is a serviceable center back. He came in and did the work. I don't think he was as amazing as maybe some people are thinking he did. You could tell the difference from the moment Yemer Gomez Andrade left all the way to the end of that extra time. I mean, LA Galaxy just looked way more efficient on the ball. They just got closer to goal. There wasn't that physical component there. Jackson did a good job. Jackson Reagan, part of my tweet after the game was, look, you could feel when Yemer left the game, but Seattle did not lose the game because of it, thanks to the great play of Jackson Reagan. So Jackson's a guy that has grown immensely over the lapse of this year or 2 years, and he's out there to play, man. So can they do it? That's going to be interesting. But to your question, I think right now it's still a maybe. But if Nuhu's available, I think he'll play the same 4-2-3-1 against his LA Galaxy team.
Ananda, we had a surprise Marco Royce inclusion in the last Galaxy starting 11. Are you seeing Greg going with the same lineup, or are you kind of seeing Delgado come back in, especially in light of what we learned today?
Yeah, I mean, in light of what we learned, I still think that I honestly think Marco Royce is healthy. I think Greg, I'm not sure if he said that just out of what he knew, but I think he's ready, man. These guys are ready. It's a small knock that just means honestly he's gonna start again. That's what I take out of it. But it's interesting because he talked about why he selected Marco against Minnesota. He thought he saw a couple things, how Minnesota would sort of drop a little bit and sit more in a mid to deep block, which is why he thought Marco could exploit some of those things. It'll be interesting though, like if Niko says that Nuhu will drop in and they'll have that sort of 4-2-3-1 formation. It'll be interesting to see whether he selects Marco again. I think he will, Rob, because Marco's such an intelligent player. I said everyone on the last pod that he is a master of manipulating space and time, right? He just knows spatial awareness. He knows where to be in those half spaces. And I think especially if Nuhu's there, I mean, that matchup is going to be really interesting to watch, guys. Gabriel Peck versus Nuhu. I feel like there might be some times where, especially with Obed Vargas switching to that side or shifting to that side to cover, we're going to need to overload that side, Rob, and that's where Marco Royce, that's where Mickey Yamane, he likes to find those little half spaces as well. In the midfield, he doesn't overlap as much. So I think Marco Royce will be in there just because of those talents. And then if we need the legs to close out a game or if we need some extra stamina in there, you've always got Mark Delgado off the bench. But Rob, this is a great problem to have. I've been saying this all year, man. The fact that we're having this conversation,
different ways to play,
and not putting square pegs in round holes and having that depth off the bench, this is we're an embarrassment of riches, right? Especially in the offensive in the half. So this is like I don't even look, Greg. You get paid the big bucks. We just get paid to kind of like, we don't even get paid to like talk about this stuff. We pay ourselves basically. So yeah, man, just it's a good problem to have, and we're not getting paid the big bucks. It's Greg's decision, but I trust him to make the right decision for sure.
The fact that you don't even get to talk, you guys don't even have to talk about Fagundes and Gaston Brookman just makes me just be like, damn, that's
Niko,
a lot of quality in the
that's
Niko,
that depth.
Yeah,
I
haven't even talked about your parcero, man. He's been a revelation this year. Miro Garces, the youngin. I mean, he's been an absolute revelation. What a talent. Just I know straying off the beaten path a little bit or off the agenda, but I mean, I had not heard of this guy coming up, and I don't know if you've heard anything. You know, of course, you follow the Colombian national team. He just came out of nowhere, man, and he's been an absolute revelation and a find. Credit Will Kuntz again. He done miracles on us.
Oh yeah, he was an up and coming guy that as soon as we started hearing that he was going to come in, it wasn't so much what he had done already in minutes. It was about that potential that he had, specifically to what Greg likes to do, right? He's so poised on the ball, so good getting out of the bag, so savvy in his spacing. I thought he was going to be the perfect complement for Yoshida, not to mention that he has the ability to defend in open space when Yamane does get forward. So, man, I just thought it was a home run when he came on. So, yeah, power to Kuntz, who I think has not missed on anybody that he's brought in this year. And yeah, no, I think Garces, without taking anything away from anybody else on that defense, you can tell when he came on by the numbers, by the possession, by some of the things they've been able to do compared to the LA Galaxy of before I was on the show.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Speaking of numbers, Anandita, por favor, tráenos los números que nos pueden llevar a la victoria para cualquier equipo. You know, the numbers don't lie. So
yeah,
get at it.
I mean, we've talked a lot. Rob, you're like I said, you're becoming a statistician now because you've come up with some great stats in terms of. I think we know that this is a battle of wills, right? This is the best offense versus the best defense in the league. This is how I'm seeing this match. So where are we always talk about, Rob, in these big matches, especially against teams where the margins are so fine. Where are the margins going to be? Like where is the edge going to be on both teams? So I pulled up a couple of these stats, and this will be interesting for us to watch, guys. So set pieces could be a differential in this game. You look at the season, Seattle was in the top 10 in set piece goals. This is from the MLS season, so not discounting playoffs. 13 set piece goals. LA Galaxy, of course, we have not been statistically and historically, good on defending those set pieces. 15 set piece goals given up. I mean, Rob, technically the other day when we gave up that penalty, it was from a long throw in, so it wasn't a set piece, but it was kind of a dead ball situation. And again, let's not forget, guys, the last time we lost to Seattle, we crashed out of the Leagues Cup because of 2 set piece goals, two great deliveries by Albert Rusnak. Greg talked about the details and really like concentrating on those fine details is what's going to create the margins in games like this. So that's one to watch out, guys, for sure. And then, you think about, I've been talking about a lot this idea, Rob, about peak Vanneyball and sort of this possession style that we sort of break teams down. But Rob, we've been really, really good on the counterattack. And this is the beauty of this team. And this is why we have such a potent offense. We can hit you not only in the possession game, but we can hit you in the semi-transition and the transition. You look at the counterattack goals, LA Galaxy, number 2 in the league this year at 12 counterattack goals. Seattle, though, historically, again, this is because they are such a good defensive team. They have been pretty good on defending the counter. I mean, they put on a masterclass against LAFC, who are the sort of the masters of the counter, especially when you got speed on the wings like Boanga and Matty Bogusz, right? So, guys, special teams are sort of these not necessarily goals from open play, but when you look at the fine margins, you look at things like set pieces, you look at things like the counters, how do you defend in transition? These are the fine margins, I think, that will, dictate the winner and the loser, I think, of this game.
Yeah, 100%. And again, this is yet another reason why not having a guy like Guillermo Gomez Andrade, like for set pieces, that's a huge downfall to Nathan, the next guy up, right? So in terms of what the stats you just shown, now I'm even more sure that Seattle's going to play with a 4-man backline if possible, because the difference between that of LA Galaxy and LAFC is that LAFC is more comfortable without the ball than with the ball. They like to play against a run of play. They want to get you on the counterattack, and that's mainly their way to success. Where can I turn the ball over? How quickly can I get it, get a goal, then I draw back? LA Galaxy is comfortable as anybody with the ball.
Right.
Yet they're just as lethal on a deep ball to Yamane that he's going to one touch all across the side that ends up in Painter's foot. So, I mean, they can do it all. But I'd rather not let them get comfortable with the ball and maybe make them defend, maybe tire out Ricky a little bit, make him run around, make a guy like Marcus Royce run around a little bit. Those are another fortes. So I feel like if you stay so deep, you play to most of the LA Galaxy strengths, so that they have a bunch of strengths, but most of their strengths by doing that.
You brought up Ananda's cousin, Don Ricky Puig. By the way, I don't know if you caught this, Nico, but Schmetz was mispronouncing Ricky Puig's name.
He does.
Yeah, it was driving me insane. I know he's such a nice guy, but it was driving me insane. Anyway, if I have the occasion to give him pointers on that one, I will. But he mentioned Ricky Puig. He mentioned the game plan, at least, you know, as it pertains to defense and keeping the Galaxy quiet, is limiting Ricky Puig. Well, this man had 160 touches against Minnesota United on Sunday, 134 successful passes. Greg Vanny called him a unicorn. There's nobody that really plays like him. And, of course, Brian Schmetzer knows that Seattle needs to limit time, space, and service that he gets, especially in the final third. Is it doable?
It's doable because they've done it. And he's very proud of that. Every time that I talk about containing a guy like Ache or containing a guy like, I don't know, whoever they're playing that's their playmaker or an important player in that team, he goes back. Well, we've handled Puig at times, and we've handled so-and-so, but Puig is always a guy that he brings up because he feels like he's done a good job at disconnecting him from the game, right? And he can do that in a couple of ways, and that's just bracketing him and having a very mobile and versatile midfield like the Sounders do. So it is doable. However, this LA Galaxy team is different, and now you don't got to worry about one guy, but you got to worry about two. So if you're going to be bracketing and trying to make sure to get Ricky off his game, you have another guy that's class act. I mean, that's quality, that's class, that's going to be able to put a ball wherever he wants. Oh, by the way, while Peck is the road runner on the right side, and then you got, Mr. Painson on the other. So there's just a lot of complications for that. And again, I feel like if Seattle doesn't have their top defenders, when you talk about the best defense on the team, that's just a less than ideal situation, because then it just limits you more to do what you want to do, to be able to push your center backs a little forward so there's less room, so there's a little bit of that staggering defense. So you can maintain visibility in other players, so you can have a little bit more poise on certain moments whenever things break down and you do lose the ball, because they had that against LAFC. One of the things that kind of comes up to me is that even when Seattle would lose the ball in their own third or they would make mistakes, everybody was running back. Everybody was pushing back. But a lot of that initial ability to delay the game was done by Yeimar, was done by some of those guys right there. So now when you don't have those, man, it's just difficult. But there is a way, but I just don't know if Seattle has all the tools to do so.
And then on the flip side, we've spoken about, Stephen Fry coming up big. We've spoken about the potential for Pedro de la Vega to come up big. Well, the guy that came up big against LAFC was Jordan Morris, much misaligned Jordan Morris by Seattle fans who keep claiming that he's not a 9, even though he's had the most prolific scoring season of his career with 13. Brian Schmetzer definitely was defending him and saying that his goal against LAFC was a classic number 9 striker goal. Nico, if you had 15 seconds with Jordan Morris to give him any kind of advice against the Galaxy this weekend, what would it be?
Oh, man. Giving Jordan advice about how to play the 9 is difficult. I would say, I'd say be patient and look for your moments. I think that one of the things that to me have hindered Jordan Morris's ability to be a good 9 is that he is impatient. He wants to get in the scoreboard so quickly. He misses a shot, and the next one is even more rushed because he just has that desire to just score right away. I think he's gotten better at that, and you saw that here against LAFC. I don't know if I agree with Brian on the whole. That's a 9-goal thought process. I mean, that's a goal that could be done by a very good winger, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I think that it was a beautiful goal. I think that the fake he does, the way he turns, where he shoots it, I think is wonderful. But I think if I was to say that it was a 9-goal, I wouldn't be so sure. But to your point, my advice to Jordan Morris, although he would never ask for it and I have no playing experience on any professional level, I would say be patient, wait for your moments, and stay on 90 minutes. That's
gotcha. Guys, we're going to start wrapping it up here, but first, Niko, you know how we do things here. You know we're going to get a prediction out of you eventually. So chat, start dropping your predictions in that chat. Let us know what you think is going to happen on Saturday. But chat, you also know that we also ask you for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... You know what the question is. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... Go ahead and start dropping those in the chat. Let us know what you think. And we're going to ask Niko the same question, but on the flip side. For Seattle to win this match, they have to fill in the blank.
They have to score goals. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You're not going to be able to just defend. You're not going to be able to just do what you've been doing. Sure, it'd be wonderful for me to sit here and tell you that they're going to be able to shout out a team that has been, 15 goals in the playoffs so far, something ridiculous like that. You got to score. You're going to have to go get the game. It's not going to come to you. You're going to have to find it. So Seattle's going to have to score. Multiple goals. Multiple goals.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask. They haven't really done so a lot in the past 20 games. I mean, it's been a lot of 1-0, 2-1. So, it's going to be a big ask to go out on the road and get multiple goals. Chat, like we said, go ahead and start dropping those predictions and the keys to the key to the game for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to. Ananda, I know that you and Dr. Raquinho have been busy in the lab cooking up some betting odds. So let us know what the betting odds have to say. To you about it.
Yeah, I'll bring up the betting odds, and then Rob, I do want to hear, because you've been asking all the questions today, but I do want to hear your key to the Galaxy winning this game.
I'll give you mine.
But current betting odds right now, the Galaxy are at a -120. That's 55%. And if you are a betting man, you would bet on the Seattle Sounders at a +290. Pretty decent odds there. That was definitely a bit higher than they gave Minnesota. They gave Minnesota, I think it was a +350, so around 20%. They're giving Seattle a 26% chance. Of course, this game is being played at Denny Hill Sports Park, and of course, we are undefeated this year at the Digz in 2024. I'm sure that's a stat that everyone knows, even the bookies at this point. I mean, the Digz has been a fortress, and rightly so. So there's the betting odds.
That's higher than LAFC. And LAFC had beat Seattle 4 games this year. That is crazy.
Wow.
Although I understand why. And again, it would not stop me from putting in a 50, on the Sounders, but that, you know what I mean? But you get why the numbers are that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's time now. Chat, keep dropping those predictions. Keep dropping those, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to. Ananda, you asked for mine. I'm not going to deviate from the path, man. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to execute. I was on that pod earlier. They asked me if it was inevitable that the Galaxy win MLS Cup. I said, no, it's not inevitable. They have to go out and take care of business. This team knows that nothing is given to them. They're all focused. They all know that the job's not finished. Galaxy fans out there know the job's not finished. So what else do you got to do but go about your business in the most professional way and execute?
Yeah. I mean, Rob, I'm gonna for me, I'm gonna channel my inner Bruce Arena a little bit. And this was remember
Get him, champ.
we had or not us, but shout out Podfather, man. Corner of the Galaxy had AJ De La Garza on the show when he did the live show in Disney Health Sports Park just outside. And he always talked about before every game, Bruce said one thing consistently. He said, everyone wins their duels, we win this game, right? And so I'm going to say the same here. And this is something, this goes off of what Niko said, which is, but I'm going to modify it slightly, which is if the Galaxy win their key duels on the pitch, we will win this game. So who am I looking at? I'm looking at Ricky Puig against Obed Vargas, right? I'm looking at Gabriel Peck against Nuhu or Bell or whoever ends up on that left-hand side. I'm looking at Jordan Morris against El Parce, against Emiro Garces, right? If we win those key battles one-on-one, because remember, Rob, duels isn't necessarily just tackling and winning the ball back. It's dribbling past your opponent. It's getting that 1v1 opportunity. Peck might fail a couple times, but he'll get those couple opportunities. And does that turn into a big chance that then turns into a goal? If we win enough of those key duels at key points of the game, whatever the game state may be, we will win this match against the Seattle Sounders.
Let's see what Chet has to say. The homie Edgar Nags, shout out Nag boys. Yeah. 2-1 tense match until late when an exhausted Sounders give up another goal in garbage time. Galaxy 3-1 final. I like it. From your lips to the Lord's ears. And then we have Marvin G. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to. Galaxy can't make mistakes on the back line because the Sounders will punish you on those mistakes. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to. The one and only real CEO says, keep the momentum going. Yeah. Keep it going like you have been. Like I said, be about your business, be professional, and execute. Niko, last question before we get on out of here, and it's the big one. The prediction. ¿Cómo ves? ¿Cómo va a terminar ese partido? ¿Seattle va a ir por su próximo título o el Galaxy gana la sexta? ¿Cuál va a ser?
Look, man, I'm going to go with the win-win here because I will continue to be Brian Smith's villain, if that's what it takes for him to continue to be motivated and his team. I will be happy if they win and they get to host. So it's a win-win for me. But all jokes aside, and just putting my analyst hat on, I think exactly what the first comment that was put out there said. I think that Seattle will try to make it difficult. I think that they will try to outpossess the Galaxy, but I think that LA Galaxy will score first. Seattle will find a way to tie it up. LA Galaxy will go up 2, and that'll be late in the game after a tough game, maybe I'm talking 60th, 70th minute, and then trying to get that tie back. The Sounders will have to get more numbers forward, will have to get exposed, will give those spaces for the triple piece to find their ways in those spaces, and they'll get a third goal. I think it'll be a 3-1 win for the LA Galaxy. I think it'll be a hard-fought game, but without having so many key players, up to 4, I just don't see this team being able to keep up with the LA Galaxy. The depth would be hindered. I thought Brian did a really good job with substitutions against LAFC. In this one, I think he's going to be even more difficult for him because of those absences.
He's not going to have enough.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So I just think that the Seattle Sounders will come up short. It'll be a 3-1 game. Not an easy one for LA Galaxy, but it'll be a 3-1 game.
Well, Anandita Kirana, I went first last time, so
you didn't, but I'll go first anyways. You know how this game works, Papa. But I am going with a similar scoreline, going with the same exact scoreline as Niko. I'm going with a 3-1 win. Rob, I'm going to go back to my point earlier that I made. Whenever we come up with these really, really tough matches, we always talk about, especially in the Tráficos, but in this rivalry as well, we talk about the fine margins, right? If you look at this game on paper, everything else aside, look at this game on paper. Both extremely good head coaches, very well coached teams, excellent set of defenders on one side, excellent set of attackers on one side. On paper, this is a gamified margins. But as I parse the details and I look at the details and I look into this game, the margins for me get wider when wider for the LA Galaxy. You look at the defensive frailties and defensive injuries that Nico just mentioned that Seattle has. That hurts their depth quite a bit, and it hurts their depth, especially in the long run of the 90 minutes. You know that, Rob. Edgar Nag said it at halftime in the last game. The Galaxy are a second half team, right? You put all that on top of it, in-form Galaxy. I mean, you've got the best front four in the league. 3 of them scored a brace the last game. Everyone is in form right now, Rob. Even the forgotten man, Decky, who we haven't talked about much, but again, he's going to be an X factor as well in this game. That matchup against Jackson Reagan should be very interesting as well to see if he can draw Jackson Reagan out and maybe, you know, Gabriel Peck or Paintsill or Ricky Pooch can ghost into the box and get a shot on goal. And then you look at the last thing, Rob, and this is, again, I can't understate this enough. The Digz is a fortress. The 12th man is real. You were there, Rob. That stadium is rocking. And the fact that this game is being played at Dignity Health Sports Park and not in Lumen Field, the margins are just too wide in this game for me to see anything but an LA Galaxy win.
Well, we have 2-3-1 wins. I'm really glad that you brought up somebody that we haven't touched on today, the chess master Dejan Jovalic, because I don't know if you caught this, but Jose made me realize this earlier on the pod that I was on earlier, and Seattle hasn't faced Dejan Jovalic this year for each one of these.
Great point.
Yeah, for each one of these matches that they've played against the Los Angeles Galaxy, Dejan Jovalic hasn't been on the field, and he's been the forgotten man all year anyway. And I think he's going to make them remember his name. I mean, he's got goals in him. He scored a brace last game. He scored an important goal in big moments in that 4-2 comeback win against LAFC. So he's got big goals and big moments in him. And I think that because he is kind of like that forgotten man, I think that he's going to have himself a special one. I think he's going to come up with another brace, and I'm also calling a 3-1.
His off the ball movement is going to be an issue. His intelligence, his sacrifice. Right. They're not going to be able to just sit there and reference him as easy as they did with Giroud. And now, I'm not trying to compare both players because obviously Giroud is Giroud and he has this fantastic trajectory, and that's fine. But the real movement that Jovic is going to bring is going to be difficult.
Like Ananda says, the tip of the spear, right? The tip of that attacking spear, and you're right. Like the Galaxy look much different when he is not involved. No disrespect.
And he's in form and healthy, right?
Exactly.
So that's dangerous. Yeah, for sure.
So I think we have a unanimous 3-1 all around here. Galaxy win. Chat is talking about Galaxy wins. Vamos a ver qué pasa. Let's see what happens on Saturday. No matter,
it's not played on paper. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not played on paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, my dog is calling the end of the show there, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're wrapping up, pup. Here it is. No matter what happens, we'll be back here with you on Monday, December 2nd for a reaction pod to this match, which we hope is a Galaxy win. Sorry, Nico. If the Galaxy do advance, their next game would be MLS Cup 2024 on Sunday, December 7th. And, of course, we'll have a preview pod for you on Thursday, December 5th. Remember, I've said it a bunch of times, job's not finished. Yes, Nico?
I'll go with this one. First of all, thank you for inviting me as always. If you need to follow me right there, @RollerNW. But I think that the biggest thing, and I don't want this to get left behind, I'm happy. I'm extremely happy for both fan bases. One, the LA Galaxy fan base that boycotted, fought, was critical, needed change, wanted change, got changed. Now they get rewarded. They get to see their team play in a Western Conference final at home. I applaud that. And as much as, yes, I'm from here, I'm from Seattle, I have an affiliation, an affection for the team. The LA Galaxy fan base deserves a huge round of applause. Seattle Sounder fans, they don't get left behind. They've struggled. They've had ups and downs this season. They there has been some small negative comments and boycotting to some games by several groups, and still the big fan base has been able to stay together. Now they get to be happy together, and they get to root on their team, travel with their team. They got to see their team win at LAFC. So happy and excited for the people that make this sport, which is the fans, man. So applaud and I tip my hat to absolutely all of you. Thank you guys for having me.
Gracias
We'll
por
do it again, hopefully at some point.
Gracias, parce.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. We do appreciate it. Say hello to the family and happy Thanksgiving. Gracias.
Thank you so
Igualmente.
much, man.
Guys, we do have a note in chat. On low, XP says December 7th is a Saturday. Yes, you are right. It is a Saturday. My mess up on that. Guys, we are going to leave you with this next note here as well. We're going to start wrapping it up here. We said it a bunch of times. Job's not finished, and we'll keep saying it until the Galaxy lift that trophy. But like we mentioned, we'll have everything you need to know in previews and reactions coming up. If you're here, it's because you found us on youtube.com/@LacunaGalaxiana, and we thank you so much for doing so. Chat, you were amazing as usual. Guys, if you feel so inclined, go ahead and hit us up at buymeacoffee.com/@LacunaGalaxiana. Ananda, do you have anything else to add before we get on out of here?
Job's not finished.
That's all I
Yes,
got.
that's all you got. Well, I have one thing, because I love it when people set me up for segues, and Niko set me up for this one kind of nicely, because Galaxy fans, you're incredible. Joe Tutino has written a little missive towards you, and it's art. I want you to remember this journey we've been on together. I want you to never forget how difficult it is to achieve the bar of the previous 5, the immortals. I want you to be proud of the strides we've taken together. I want you to understand we're not done, and that we have more to give to return to our throne. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's why he's a legend. That's why he's one of my heroes. Galaxy fans, it's time. 2 more games left. The Galaxy face off against Seattle at the Digz, Saturday, 7 p.m. Bring it. They need you. They've said it a bunch of times. I know that everybody is going to go out there and scream their heads off for your LA Galaxy and represent the colors blue, white, and gold. From me and my co-host Ananda here at Lacuna Galaxiana, we do appreciate you being here with us. And one thing left to say, G's up! Do yo.